All right, so hopefully I've got much better audio now. I learned not only do you need to turn the headset on, you need to actually select the headset here over your laptop speakers. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get back into where we left off. So I'd intended this video to be the Wireshark sniff, but it looks like I actually forgot to do some verification steps. So I'm going to go and pick those up because there's actually, I went in them between videos, and it is going to be interesting to look at because you can see how the MPLS label is manipulated throughout the path. So it's, of course, pushed on from a PE, and then it's swapped out at certain points in the topology, and then it's popped when it gets to its destination. So we're going to see that whole operation now. So I thought that would be definitely something interesting to have on video and something I wouldn't want to skip. So we stopped at step 12 last time. So I'm going to open up PE2 and just start from there. Show route 192.021 detail. That's the same route on that CE. So I'm going to actually go ahead and notate the labels that are being used in their topology versus the ones that's being used in this topology here. So you can see it's pushing labels. It looks like this is a top label. So that's something to note, and we'll see how on different devices along the topology, they'll be doing different operations. They're not all going to push. So in our case here, we've got 17 and 16 is going to be the top label. So let's take a look what the next command is. So the next command, we're going to be traveling back up this way. We're going to go to the ASBR2 and take a look at the MPLS table. Show route table MPLS.0 detail. So it looks like here they're going to look at information pertaining to one of those labels, and it's going to be this one that was pushed on. So for us, that's going to be 17. So let's just narrow it down to what's interesting. Question mark is really useful here because I actually have never done a command like this before. So I'm going to need to figure out how I can filter that down. And it's just as easy as label and then the name of the label. Commands are usually pretty intuitive on networking equipment. So here it's swapping. It's swapping for a different label. It's swapping for the label that was the top label, it looks like. Oh, nope. So it's swapping for a different label than this. It just looked familiar to me with the 299 being the first 3 digits, but sure enough, it's a completely different number. Here it looks like it's swapping it from 17 for 17, so there's no changes here, even though it's swapping. It might be able to reuse the same label or something like that, but I'm going to go ahead and keep track of this line. And now go back up that topology, back the way we came, onto ASBR1. And then take a look at what is happening there. And we can see the label that is being tracked is going to be the label it was swapped out for. So it used to be this 300048 label, but now it's the 2999A4. So here, that's going to be filtered down by that label, but in our case, it swapped it out for the same number, 17. So it's probably a different label, it's just got the same name. Detail label 17. And we can see same operations here. It's gonna swap 16 and it's going to push 19, which is interesting because, and it looks like it's the same case over here as well. You don't see this label being something that is swapped or pushed. Okay, so you have, okay. Yeah, definitely something to think about. I think we're going backwards right now, so it might not make intuitive sense until we get all the way to the top and then go back the other way and kind of think about the flow in a way that's more intuitive. So last router to check of the commands I skipped in the last video, and that's going to be PE1. So you can see we're not going to be checking these P routers. They're just transit routers for the traffic. They're not going to be doing any label swapping, as I understand. But we can certainly, just for the sake of curiosity, do an additional command that's not in this exercise and just see what it looks like on those P routers. And I think now is a really good time to do that because unfortunately it looks like I have lost the command line on this as well. I've checked my cron job. I think it's working, but I don't think my, well, I actually don't think my cron job is working. And this is kind of more frequent that I'm used to seeing this problem. So yeah, there's probably an issue with my cron job, but that's okay. I'll be able to, it's a good thing I logged in now over my lunch because I'll be able to reboot it and have it ready for after work. But until then, let's go and take a look at the P router. And here we're gonna see that there'd be a pop on here. So far it's been aligning just the way it was in the exercise. So we would see that. So let's look at the P router and see what the MPLS.0 table looks like on that. And you can see here, they've got show route, so that's very clearly a typo. They just meant to write route once. There's no such thing as this command. That's the kind of thing that's not quite worth a downvote. It's not gonna make it impossible, but if there was a situation where they'd say to do show route and then a different command here where you just couldn't understand what command they wanted you to use, that might be something worth a downvote. But let's take a look at this table. And looks like we've got a lot of different labels. Let's see if we have any of the labels we found in the last one on ASBR1, label 16 and label 19. So we don't have 16. Do we have 19? We got 19. So it looks like we've actually got 19 twice. And the next hop is going to be the same. So that's interesting. But the label switch path is going to be different. So let's see if we can just look at one at a time here. So maybe can I narrow it down some more maybe? Or I can just go ahead and use the more prompt and then not space it out, and then I've got the first one. So the first one next hop, 1.2, GE000.0, label switch path to PE1. So if we go back to topology, we're looking at a label along this path. Let's take a look at the next one. Next hop is the same. This one's going to P1, PE1. So looks like they're actually both going to PE1. So this is the same label, it's just listed twice. You can see here we've got 19 listed. Down here we've got 19 S equals 0 listed. Another difference, I guess that's the main difference. Another thing we can do, just to be extra sure that there are differences between these, is go ahead and do that Notepad++ compare again, just for curiosity. So let's grab the other one now. Okay, and then this first line, of course, is going to be different because it's not included in that second output, so we can just get rid of it. And now we can take a look at how they differ. So it looks like there are some pretty clear differences. There are multiple differences. So this, I'll just go ahead and bookmark these lines and then clear the active compare, because the coloring rules, unfortunately, I haven't taken the time to fix that yet. But if I just clear the active compares, I've got the lines bookmarked here, and I can move this to another view. And now it's pretty nice and clear that this line is different. It's got a different next hop index. This has got a different address. We've got a different label element, PTR. And we've got different label element references. Here we only have one when it's S equals 0. And here we have 2 when it's just the label without that extra information afterward. So not very many differences there. Not really sure what those differences mean exactly, but that's kind of the point of what's the intent of this channel. Dive into that deeper maybe. Of course, I don't want to get off track for the exam. That's the #1 goal. But kind of the main focus for this video was intended to be that Wireshark sniff. So why don't I get a head start and just do one link here. I'm sure they're going to be the same as they were for that other video, so it'll go pretty quick. One thing that'll be interesting, so I don't have the CLI to this P1. Oh, looks like I got it back. All right, so that's good news. It looks like I got it back somehow. I'm just going to verify that I've got the command line to all of my routers. So C1, yes, C2, PE1. Oh, it looks like PE1 is the one that was missing the command prompt, but PE2 looks good, CE1 looks good, CE2 looks good. So P1, that one's fine. What about ASBR2, ASBR1? Okay, so it's just this PE1 that's having problems. I think the P2 was checked earlier, but I'll just check that again. Yep, P2 is fine. So this is the only one with issues. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot that. And I'll just try reloading this one device, and hopefully that will allow me to do some Wireshark explorations for another 10-20 minutes while this is rebooting. Oops. So you can always do that. You can just stop it and then restart it. This is the reason why I like to use the Linux command line on the GNS3 VM. It's just really fickle. It doesn't really always respond when you try to stop it. When you do restart, sometimes it just ignores you. A way you can see if you're being ignored by it or not is to change your docs view and look at your topology summary. So now I've got my PE1. You can see, yep, it's not actually stopping. This icon would change if it were stopping. You can see it's not responding to any of my requests for it to stop or restart. So unfortunately, I will need to reboot the whole GNS3 VM before I go ahead and start those captures. So one final note before I go ahead and do that and call this video done is another important view is going to be your server summary. So this will tell you how much you are taxing your equipment, and this is where you can see your utilization. So right now, that $600 server, that's pretty darn good. I've got 8 VMXs running, each require 4 gigs of RAM. So 4 times 8, that's quite a bit of RAM that I need. But I'm only using 17.5% of what I've got available. And even then, I'm only allocating 64 gigs to this virtual machine. And I've actually got 96 total on my server. So that was a really good deal. Just for $600, I can do anything I want. And yes, of course, I'm going to have issues like this where it loses the command line. But from what I understand, using VMX, you're going to get issues like that no matter what you use. So fortunately, I think I'll need to stop the video for today, unless this is going to come up. Nope, I'm going to have to stop it for today. And then the next video will be that Wireshark capture. But in this video, we looked at the labels, the label operations in MPLS. We did the rest of those commands that I skipped in the last video. And we kind of got a little bit of a sense for how labels are manipulated along a label switch path. Thanks for watching.